daw's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming,
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight
o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming,
and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see we rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
All right, hello and welcome everybody to the Extreme Forces Racing League. We are here with race number 2 of the Falcon Graphix Tuesday Night Lights Micro Sprint Series here with the Outlaw Winged Micro. Man, these things, they're tiny, they're light, but they still have an insane freaking motor in them for what they are. 15,000 RPM out of these motorcycle engines out here in these dirt cars. These guys are ripping around this track. Got about 5 minutes left in this practice session before we go and get into our heat races here tonight. 8 cars joining us for tonight's event. And right now, Donnie Bartlett in that 21 machine, he has the best lap time of anyone on track. An 11.803 second lap. Quite impressive for that 21 machine. Michael Steele, last week's winner at the Chili Bowl, coming in close though, 11.84, so he's not far behind. Let's see if Michael Steele can go 2 for 2 here tonight. You can see Michael right there in that bright pink machine on the bottom of this track here. Tonight we are at the Brandon, South Dakota's very own Huset's Speedway. Tight little 3rd mile dirt track. And these boys, they're going to come out here. They're going to put on one heck of a show for us tonight. We got Mason Hain here in that 089, that yellow car you see coming up right in front of, I believe that's Justin Walbring behind him. Yes, that would be the 33 of Walbring. That black and yellow machine. If you're looking for any kind of wraps, Justin Walbring, a good guy to ask for dirt specific wraps especially. But if you're looking for something a little outside of dirt, our primary sponsor of this league, Falcon Graphix, Mick Olofsson, he does some pretty dang good work on those oval track cars, especially. I haven't seen if he's done anything much on the road side of things, but I know he's done a few, more than a few oval track series cars. So check out either of those, Misfit Creations, Falcon Graphix. And big thanks out to Falcon Graphix for sponsoring our Tuesday night series here, both the Micro Sprint series and our mini stock series here that follows after this. Unfortunately, the mini stocks are not broadcasted, but I thought I'd give a shot at broadcasting these dirt cars because I'm not great shakes in them. I took a couple of practice laps, and my god, these little things are squirrely. Right now, we got Justin Walbring burning some donuts, burning it down inside the infield here. Must be in a very good mood. Donnie Bartlett, our current speed leader, just pulling off track. Mason Hayne here pulling off track here is in the last minute and a half of practice, just to get the last little bit of a feel for these cars before we get into our heat races. No qualifying in this series. These guys will get randomly drawn for where they'll start, in what heat, and in what position. We should get 2 heat races here tonight. So 4 cars per heat. They will be randomly drawn in what heat they will race in, and what their starting position will be, and their finish in their heat will determine where they will start for our 40-lap feature here tonight at Huset Speedway. In the final 10 seconds here of practice, Michael Steele out there, Donnie Bartlett on that bottom side, trying to see what he can do with that car of Steele's. Steele pulling away from a little bit as practice comes to a close. Now let's see exactly where these gentlemen will line up, but Donnie Bartlett, best time out there, still with that 11:08. Then we got Michael Steele, Mason Hayne, Justin Walbring, and Ray Andrews in that 420 machine, bringing up the backside of the top 5. Now we're getting ready here to grid up for our first heat race tonight. See if we can get our starting grid. There we go. For some reason it did not want to populate it up on screen, but we got her now. On pole position, last week's winner and current points leader, Michael Steele, in that number 5 car, that bright pink car you see on the inside. Outside of him brings up the number 8 of Jason Smith. Braxton Clues, the lone Canadian in tonight's field. They're starting inside of row number 2 in that number 9 car. And then Justin Walbring in that 33, bringing up the outside of row number 2. 4 cars here. Let's see what these guys can make of each other. Like I said, Michael Steele last week, he won Chili Bowl in pretty dramatic fashion. Led that thing flag to flag, if I remember correctly. And he is looking to go 2 for 2 here tonight. So see if he can get himself the optimal starting position, pole position, if you win this heat race. See what Michael Steele can do. As the pace truck's coming around, he should pull off, and yes, there he goes. Field is in the hands of Michael Steele. Restarts are on green flag here. Coming out of turn number 4. Green flag in the air. Pretty even start on that front row. Michael Steele to the inside, slight advantage, but Jason Smith keeping even with him almost on that outside line. Going to have to keep an eye on that 8 car of Smith as he is trying his best to make the move on that outside. Steele sliding up, trying to close the door. Does not get it closed, but should be able to do so, and he does, coming off of the corner right there. It is Michael Steele, Jason Smith, Walbring in third. Braxton Clues a little further back there, the last car in fourth. That inside line being the dominant line right now. You see Michael Steele opening that gap up. 3 laps remaining in this race. Coming around, Michael Steele still opening that gap up, over a second ahead of Jason Smith as we get white flag in the air. This race is Michael's to lose. Smith, though, getting a little bit of pressure behind him. 33 of Walbring. It's not going to be enough. Michael Steele wins heat race number 1. Jason Smith in second. Justin Walbring will give a hard charge for that second place, but has to settle for third. Braxton Clues bringing up the back of the pack in that heat race number 1. Now, let's get ready with heat race number 2 as they are starting to get lined up, gridded up. Let's take a look at our starting lineup. Mason Hain in that 089 car, bringing up pole position. As you see, he just grids up right there. Aaron Murphy, his first time out this season here in that 41 machine, gets lucky draw number 2. Donnie Bartlett, that number 21 machine, he was fastest in practice. Let's see if he can keep that up here in heat race number 2. Ooh, excuse me. And then Ray Andrews bringing up the rear of this pack, outside row number 2 in that 420 machine. Let's see if these guys can give us the same kind of excitement heat race number 1 had. Michael Steele jumped to an early lead after battling on that inside row for a couple laps with Jason Smith. Can Mason Hain do the same thing on that bottom line, or will Murphy have something for him on the outside this time? Or, you know, Donnie Bartlett there in row 2 on the inside. Like I said, fastest in practice. Can he make a quick work of these guys and get that outside pole position? Pace truck will be pulling off right here. Yes, he goes down to the bottom of the track. Field is in the hands of the 089 machine. Coming through 3 and 4 one last time before taking the green flag. Green's in the air. Big jump on the outside by Murphy. But Murphy, I think, realized that he might have been pushing his luck on that. Backed off, let Mason Hain get back to the inside. Maybe let off a little too much. Falling back into the clutches of Ray Andrews in that 420 machine. Donnie Bartlett falling to the back here. Not showing the same speed so far in this heat race that he had in the practice session. Right now, our big battle is for second place. Aaron Murphy has it. Ray Andrews is trying to peek low to see if he can get down underneath. We saw that low line being pretty dominant in heat race number 1. Donnie Bartlett's not content to stay back there, though. He is coming up on these two. Side by side coming out of turn number 4. Ray Andrews trying to sneak around for second place. Aaron Murphy up on that middle groove is not having any piece of that action. He's up there in that dryer. White flag in the air. One more time around for these guys. Mason Hain out to a considerable lead. Battle right now for second place as Mason Hain comes off of turn number 4, takes a checkered flag. Aaron Murphy holding on to second place. Ray Andrews valiantly fighting for second place, has to settle for third. Donnie Bartlett falling down to fourth. And ladies and gentlemen, that'll be the heat racing action here. I thought there were supposed to be more laps, but apparently the session was not set up for that many. Now we are in a 3-minute practice session here. Just a final warm-up to give these guys one last chance to feel out the car, see where the track's going, how much changes are being made to the track surface before we get into our 40-lap feature. See, Heat 2 winner here trying to pass Braxton Clues on the inside. Mason Haynes in that yellow car. Braxton in the green one on the outside. But right now, fastest car on track is the 41 machine of Aaron Murphy. Did not have anything for Mason Haynes in that in that second heat race, excuse me. But right now, he is showing that he is not somebody to be messed with. But Michael Steele coming out, last week's winner, coming out taking the top of the leaderboard. 12.21 last lap around. Aaron Murphy at 12.25. Not too much in it between the two of them. Donnie Bartlett, though, he's like, don't forget about me, boys. I'm right here, 12.3. So, lap time's pretty close, really, between the top four, 12.2 to a 12.4. So, going to be an intense, tight race here by the looks of it. Down into our final second of practice. It's still the top three, not changed. Jason Smith making a move though. Now with a 12.30 exactly 12.300 for fourth place. Mason Haynes falling to fifth. Braxton Clues, he's finding a little bit of speed. He's not got a whole lot of experience on dirt tracks. But the young fella, he's a bit of a force to be reckoned with on the asphalt. And he has climbed his way up into 6th position on our leaderboard here in the warm-up. But we are just about to get ready to start our feature race here in the Falcon Graphix Tuesday Night Lights Micro Sprint Series. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. And now let's take a look at our starting lineup for the 40-lap feature here. On pole position, he won heat race number 1, that 5 car, Michael Steele, last week's winner, points leader, and he is looking to extend that 10-point lead into something more. Mason Haynes on the outside pole by virtue of winning heat race number 2 in that 089 car. Row 2 sees Jason Smith in that number 8 machine with the 41 of Aaron Murphy on his outside. Inside of row 3 we see the 33 machine of Justin Walbring with Ray Unk Andrews on his outside. And finally row number 4, Braxton Clues, the lone Canadian in tonight's field. That green number 9, Braxton Clues. Outside of him, he was fastest in our practice session. He was holding strong in the warm-up. That 21 machine, Donnie Bartlett. One more time around this track, and these guys will be let loose for 40 laps of heat racing action. Hopefully things go well. Hopefully these guys put on a great show. Like I said, these cars, they're kind of crazy to drive. They don't sound like they're very powerful, but until you realize it, there's really no weight with these cars, and they are turning 15,000 RPM. 15. 1-5. That is a lot of revolutions in 1 minute for these little motors to be making, and green flag is in the air. Michael Steele kind of caught sleeping. Mason Hain pulling out to an early lead. Aaron Murphy on the outside. We got Jason Smith on the inside there trying to get a move on Steele. Not going to have to, or not going to make it there. Aaron Murphy on the outside, just going to take third away from Smith. Then we got Ray Andrews back here. Donnie Bartlett making a couple of moves, up 2 positions so far from the start. Got Walbring and Clues battling it out here at the tail end of the field, but right now Michael Steele falling back off pole position. Kind of caught sleeping on that green flag. Mason Hain taking full advantage of that, jumping out to an early lead. Hain running that high line in that 08 now. He comes down to the bottom line just to make a liar out of me. But see what happens here. Can Steele reel him in? We see Steele is kind of closing that gap just a little bit, but still a half second back. Battle for third right now between Aaron Murphy and Jason Smith. Smith just about closed the door on Murphy. Andrews looking to take advantage of that door that Jason just kind of kicked open. Murphy bleeding positions here. Actually, he's able to hold off Andrews just barely. Trying to take the battle back to Jason Smith, but that gap is opening up between the 41 machine and the 8. Donnie here looking to get on that action as well, just behind the 420 machine, as we got a car hard into the outside wall. Braxton Clues. And Walbring seems to have gotten a part of that. No caution flag on the field though. See if we can take a quick look at what happened there. You see the 9 of Braxton Clues getting into the wall. Justin just had nowhere really to go and ended up stopping after making some light contact. Maybe not so light. Looks like Justin's pulled it into pit road. 13 laps into tonight's race. We're battling it out. Mason Hain has a 1 second lead over Michael Steele. Michael not able to reel things in here. Jason Smith though trying to catch up to those two. Ray Andrews meanwhile has managed to get around Aaron Murphy, as has Donnie Bartlett. Aaron falling back to 6. Donnie moving up 3 positions from his back of the field starting spot. Right now, this is kind of the tightest battle on the track here. Jason Smith, Ray Andrews, Donnie Bartlett. But right now, they're all kind of equally spaced, about 4 or 5 cars between the 3 of them, or between each of them. So it's going to take a bit of a do for these guys to catch each other and start racing. But looks like Donnie is reeling in Ray ever so slightly. Mason Hain in that 089. In fact, it looks like he is going to be catching up to the lap traffic. That would be Braxton Clues in the 9 just ahead of him. Still preferring that bottom line in 1 and 2, and seems to run the outside in 3 and 4. He seems to have found something going on this racetrack. Michael Steele trying the inside line. Kind of holding station with that 089, but not quite enough to actually make too much ground. Actually, I say that Mason Hain had a 1 second lead earlier in this race. Now we are just over halfway through. Steele is closing that gap in a hurry. Holy crap, Michael, where'd you find that extra gear? See if Steele can make a move on the 089. There was 1 second between these guys not so long ago. Now Michael is hammering on that door. And Michael looking to go side by side. Ooh, they make contact. Michael backs out of it, does not turn that 089 car. Good driving, good heads-up driving right there by Michael, not to cause a wreck. Hayne trying everything he can to keep that 5 machine behind him, and Michael gets to the bottom, pokes his nose ahead. Ooh, they make contact. The 089 hard into the outside wall. Keeps it going, keeps with Michael. New leader Michael Steele with 15 laps to go. Jason Smith over a second and a half behind the 089. He is nowhere close to this as we see Donnie Bartlett making another position here. Now up 4, getting around the 420 of Ray Andrews. Ray's trying to battle it back, but that 21 machine, we saw he was fast in practice. He was fast in the warm-up. Now he is trying to gain as much ground, but no caution flag so far in this race. Michael Steele has passed that 089 machine and has just said goodbye. I am out of here. Sayonara. I am taking this race. I'm extending my points lead. And good luck to the rest of y'all by the looks of things. Ten laps now, 9 to go here at the line. Michael Steele still pulling out ahead of Mason Hayne. Lead is now up to 9/10 of a second and climbing. Michael has found an extra gear in that car and he is not shifting out of it. Jason Smith still running here in third, but he's 3 seconds back on our leader and 2 seconds off of Haynes. So he's pretty much locked into third, barring a caution or a mistake by anyone around him. Donnie Bartlett, we got to look another 2 seconds behind Smith to get to that 21 machine. He's got Ray Andrews just behind him. And Aaron Murphy showed a little bit of promise early in the race, but he's fallen way off the pace here. Now 4 seconds behind Ray Andrews. A full 10 seconds back. In fact, Aaron is in danger of getting lapped by our leader here, Michael Steele, who's coming back around the lap car of Braxton Blues. Braxton moving up, giving the leaders plenty of room to go. 5 laps to go, 4 now. As you see, Steele is slowly reeling in the 41 machine of Aaron Murphy. And yeah, Justin, I don't know how that wasn't a yellow. I think the big thing with you is it didn't seem to register the 9 car spinning ahead of you, but it showed you getting stopped as you made contact with him on my incident board. So I think the reason it didn't give the yellow is you were able to continue moving. But 2 laps to go here. Michael Steele 1.3 seconds ahead as he comes to the white flag. Michael Steele's just got to get around this track one more time there. He doesn't even have to bother with this lap car of the 41, really. He's got such a cushion back to him. In fact, that cushion got big all of a sudden. Mason Haynes slow off of turn number 4. Jason Smith's going to get around him. We'll have to take a look back here to see if we can find out what happened. Mason Haynes falling hard on the final lap, falling to 3rd. Donnie Bartlett bringing the race home in 4th. Aaron Murphy 5th. Ray Andrews holding on to 6th, and we got Braxton and Walbring coming out of the race here in 7th and 8th. Let's take a look back here, see if we can find out what exactly happened to Mason Hayne. Well, you know what? I'm not sure if we're going to be able to figure it out. But congratulations there to our top 3, Michael Steele, Jason Smith, Mason Hayne, as they get ready to come here into the broadcast booth, and we'll get their post-race interview. Pretty exciting race here as we wait for Mason Hayne hopefully to make his way into the booth. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, bringing it up here in third place, Mr. Mason Hain. After a last lap incident there, I didn't catch quite what happened to you, Mason, but you came way off the pace there and had a strong start. What happened to you?
Ran out of gas. Yeah,
Ran out of gas.
didn't have enough fuel in it, and that's what we were talking about at the beginning. Because right when the start comes, the pit guy or the guy or whatever was like, "You're gonna have to stop during this race to refuel." And then I checked, and I was like, "Oh, we're going 40 laps," and then it said 37 laps, and I was like, "Oh," and we were talking about it, and it was like the guys were like, you might be able to make it, 70% chance." And I started laughing. I was like, "Knowing me, I'm not gonna make it."
So
Because I
ran
put
it
the
just
hammer
a
down.
little bit too hard the early portion of the race, and everyone else was able to save just enough to get by ya, hey?
Yeah, I guess that's what happened. But you know, when these tracks, if you get out front into clean air and all that good stuff, and you know, seems to be better. But obviously, my car faded there toward. Must have ran it too hard at the beginning, but didn't feel like I was. I was letting off, and you know, I wasn't full bore the whole way around. So, um, I guess it happens. It's part of racing. It is what it is. You know.
Well, and a lot of fans will complain, even in any form of racing, that, the fuel mileage racing is not exciting racing, but at the same time, it comes down to strategy. It comes down to how hard do you push that car to make it, right? And
Yeah.
as a driver, it does kind of get exciting because there's that little bit of pressure on you to make sure you save that much, right?
Yeah, but like, I think I probably could have saved some in the middle parts of the race, and I did start to slow my pace down. And then Michael was running some heaters of laps, and then he caught me. I think I had a pretty big lead. I wasn't really paying attention. I'd look up in the mirror every now and then, but um, yeah, I figured, I looked down in the corner and it's the black box, and I'm looking at the laps and I'm looking at the fuel, and I'm like, all right, maybe I should slow it down a little bit, save tires, save fuel. And then, of course, he caught me. And then, and then when you're behind him trying to catch him, then you're pushing it, obviously. So um, I was trying to find a line that actually worked. It seemed like he was looked up on the bottom. I probably should have moved my wing back a little bit for, at the beginning of the race, because you can't move these, obviously, in car like you can on a sprint car. So, um, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It was a good race. Credit to Mike. He came back and ran smooth and finished it.
Well, and overall, you did have a good day. You weren't really the fastest in the practice session. You had good speed. But you
Hmm.
really showed it there in that heat race, and then here in the feature, you took that lead early on. You got a good jump on Michael. He must have been kind of sleeping on that initial start, and at one point I saw you were at least 1 second ahead, and then yeah, Michael just started reeling you in, nice, smooth, and steady. And next thing you know, I think it was right when you started to realize that you were maybe a little shy on fuel that you started to save a little harder. That Michael just all of a sudden was on your back bumper and got around you, but overall,
Hmm.
it was a good, strong race for that 089 machine for you.
Yep. Yeah, I'm happy with it. It sucks that I came in third because I think I was a second place car, obviously, tonight. But yeah, I mean, I was putting around, and I was like, I'm just gonna, if it runs out and I stop on the track and come in last, it is what it is. I just got to get to the line. And I think Donnie might have ran out of fuel too, because he was looked like he was putting around there after me. So um, yeah, it was good race. Should have done better saving the fuel, but it's kind of a bigger track for these cars too. So next week I think it's Millbridge I saw. So that's going to be a lot of fun. That's small and tight and probably more suited for these.
Well, and when setting up the schedule, I definitely tried to keep it to the third mile or shorter, but there's a few
Yeah,
options for these cars here on
right.
iRacing, so sometimes you
Yeah.
just got to do what you got to do, right?
No, it's a good track for them. You know what I mean? It's just like the fuel maintenance and all that is, the Chili Bowl. You're not going to worry about that stuff because it's so small. You know what I mean? Um, and other tracks, but yeah, I mean, tire wear and all that. I mean, I know they changed some of the stuff in here, and that's a factor too. So if I'm hammering it and trying to get to a big lead, that stuff wears out too. So it was fun. I had a lot of fun. I love these. I love racing these. It's a good group of dudes. Everybody races clean. Michael was apologizing for tapping me there, but I was like, man, that's part of racing. Like, I was trying to cut him off and not give him room, and he was trying to squeeze in there, and that's just part of the deal. So, yeah, all in all, good fun. It is what it is. I had a good time. That's all that matters.
Exactly. That's the main thing, as long as you don't take it too seriously, it's not like there's $1 million on
Mm-hmm.
the line for this series, right? So
Right.
as long as no one's, being out there being a jackass on purpose and going out there
Yeah.
and being and having fun and putting on a good show for us to put or to watch, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And you guys did just that tonight.
Yep, that's right. And I work all day, and I want to come home and have fun, so I did that. So I'm happy.
Well, Mason, before I let you go here, do you have any sponsors on that car you want to thank for helping you out tonight?
Yeah, so we got Grand Slam Graphics, Justified Motorsports, and then you for putting this on. I really appreciate it, and I'm having a lot of fun so far, and hoping I can make all the races.
Well, I definitely hope you can too, Mason. It's great watching you out on that track. You're definitely one of the fast cars to watch out for, and hopefully you get lucky and get to knock Michael Steele off that podium or top podium step here sometime this season.
Yeah, would be good to do that, but either way, it's going to be good racing. It's going to be good to watch and go back and watch, and like I said, a lot of fun. So I appreciate it, Tom. Thanks, man.
Congratulations on third.
Thanks, brother.
Alrighty, well, let's bring in the number 2 finisher here, Jason Smith, after a sneak pass on Mason Hayne, who kind of dominated the first half. Jason, you're kind of held back there a little while. Talking with Mason, apparently we didn't realize it on the admin side, but fuel mileage was a little bit of a concern here tonight. What did you have to do there to get enough to get to that end?
Well, I thought I was doing a good job running the bottom for the first half of the race. Then, with about, I don't know, 20 to go, I decided I was going to go wide open around what was the top side. Um, with about 6 to go, it told me I had 5 laps of fuel left, and I said nope, and ducked back down to the bottom because I knew I had enough of a gap. So, yeah, that was interesting.
One, you don't really think about it. You hear, oh, it's a 1/3 mile oval, but a track like this, especially with cars like what we ran today here with these micro sprints, this is a really, really wide racetrack. So keeping the car pinned to that bottom, you shave off quite a bit of distance on that track by staying to the bottom as much as possible, right?
Yeah, I felt like I could roll it pretty good, get into 1 and 2 a little bit better than they were, and then all of a sudden I lost my launch off the corner. It slickened off. I couldn't find a good line again, and yeah, I think the moisture just ran out in where I wanted to be, so I wasn't very comfortable anymore. Not fully understanding these cars yet, but
Well, and I made mention of it a couple of times here. Like it doesn't sound like these cars are very powerful. They're just running what, like 100 and some horsepower motorcycle engine in them. But when you
something
think
like
about it,
that.
the driver's basically the heaviest component of the car, and those engines are revving to like 15,000 RPM. They're almost right up there with the 410 Sprint.
Yeah, I guess in an aspect it really is, because I mean, yeah, you feel like you're doing 140 in them, even though it's a much smaller scale, and you're only doing, I think I was hitting 90 at the end of the straightaways.
Well, 90 mile an hour on dirt, still kind of insane, especially on a 1/3 mile oval.
Yeah, they're definitely fun to drive though. I mean, I, for never actually being in them until this point, I'm really enjoying them. I could see myself running them part time in the future.
Well, absolutely, and you came from a little bit further back in the field, but you managed to sneak by. Mason kind of ran out of fuel on the last lap, and you happened to be just in the catbird seat there to take advantage of him not saving enough. So, you managed to second place out of there. Hopefully, you can close that gap on Michael Steele, but he's 2 for 2 so far on the season. What do you think it's going to take to, knock him off that top podium step?
A lot of luck and a couple tracks that I can be a little better at. Preferably, by the time we hit Charlotte, maybe I'll still be second in points and keep it somewhat close. Maybe pull a win off, but at that point, he'll probably extend it too much. So, not a lot of faith in myself at the moment, but If I could stay somewhat up front in the points, I'd still be satisfied. I'm not fully competing for the championship in these until I can really be confident.
Well, we hit Millbridge next week, and it's a shorter track once again. Hopefully, hopefully you can get a little bit of practice in sometime here throughout the week to figure that track out with this car and maybe take the battle to that 5 car.
Yeah, if it's anything like running the top side of the Chili Bowl, I might have a decent shot. I know it's a lap car last week and I felt bad, but I was starting to blow by some guys just ripping it around, and even though it was 4 laps down, but yeah, I mean it looks like a fun track. I'll definitely have to hopefully remember to do some practice laps before next week, but it'll be interesting.
Well, I'll try to remember to remind you, Jason.
Much appreciated.
All right, Jason. I'm sure you got a few sponsors on that car you want to give a shout out to, because no race team's complete without having that list of sponsors.
Yeah, some mine are outdated, it being a thrown together car, but we got J&J Virtual Motorsports, Wellman Sim Racing, Ohio Valley Sim Sports, and Misfit Creations.
Alrighty, Jason. Well, congratulations on finishing second once again here. Hopefully, you can keep that streak up, take the battle to that 5 team next week, and let's see what you can do.
Heck yeah, thanks, buddy.
Alrighty. Well, you know what? He won race number 1 in dominant fashion. Got the pole tonight here again, but kind of slept on that initial start just a little bit, but battled back to take the win again. Mr. Michael Steele in that pink 5 machine. Michael, we're going to make this a bit of a pattern this season, or what?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I do show up, I'm hoping so. But yeah, that was fun. We knew kind of going in. I noticed during practice that we were going to be kind of weary of fuel running within a lap or two, possibly of running out. So that was one of my big features that I was big things that I was really focused on is going around and wanted to just try to save fuel for the first 10, 15 laps, whatever. I was even questioning myself. I was like, how far do I want to drop back? But I went out in the first few laps and kind of gauged how fast Mason was going to go and gauged where everybody else was. And I was like, all right, I think I can run in second. Just I was showing I was going to be a couple laps to the good on fuel. So if I can just keep managing that, then I should be all right.
Well, and that's a real big gamble right there. When you know you're going to be really tight on that run to the end for fuel. And like, how far do you let that car ahead of you gap you without getting too far behind? Like, is he actually saving enough? Are you saving enough? There's so many questions that comes with that you almost start to second guess yourself on what you're doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, normally I have my relative on, so I can just see kind of where lap cars and cars around me, how close they are, and all that. And a good portion of the race tonight, I was running more with just how many laps I had left, and kept flipping through just enough to see what lap we were on to keep a manage on that. And like I said, I honestly I waited probably about 10 laps before I finally decided it looked like I was going to be good if we didn't have any cautions and everybody's driving pretty clean. It seemed like so. I was gonna kind of start running a little bit different lines, start running a slider line and kind of trying to make some ground back up. And it honestly took me about 10 laps to even get caught back up to them and kind of getting it dialed in. So I was worried that I honestly didn't know if I would have enough by the time I got to them. But yeah, it was definitely a thinker trying to just manage the fuel, and it was fun to race with Mason. I hate the fact that we kind of got into it there. I think coming out of four that one corner, it's kind of mixture of me running up high and him kind of diming it off and coming down low. And I hate that we got together like that, but
Well, and Mason even commented on that there. He straight up said that, he was coming down trying to pinch you to make sure you didn't have the room to come up, and you were trying to come up and close the door. And it's just the way racing works, especially on oval tracks. Like a road course that, yeah, you might have the stewards looking at you and giving penalties to someone, but or oval track, that's just kind of par for the course. That's just racing, and yeah, it's you guys both understood. Hey, we're racing hard for the lead, racing hard for the win, and it is what it is. No one crashed. Everyone was all good, right?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm definitely, I love whenever people can actually talk it out rather than kind of being babies about it and just throwing a fit. And everything like that. I'm always willing to put blame on myself whenever it is my fault. So I immediately, once we join in the waiting room, I apologize to him for my part of it. And yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just racing. Sometimes stuff like that's happening whenever you're running up front and you're pushing the car that hard.
Well, exactly. In oval track, especially when you're racing someone side by side, it's hard to keep track the entire time of where the competition is, where that car is right beside you. And especially on dirt, we've got an advantage in iRacing to have a spotter telling us where that car is, but when the car is sliding, the spotter doesn't know where that car is, so they don't always have that information for you. Real life, you,
Yeah,
you, you don't
100%.
have that spotter.
Yeah, no, not at all. And then these things have a giant, massive wing on the right side, so it's really hard to even see where anybody is on your right side. And then I only run on single 32-inch monitors, so I have to hit the little button to look right and everything and see kind of where people are most times. And by then, I screw yourself up and probably gonna get into them anyway. So yeah, it unfortunately it happens, and thankfully we do have mirrors and spotters. I won't lie, I use a mirror on here just to avoid killing people. So I get the fact that it's probably cheating compared to how it is in real life, but that's why I'm glad it's iRacing.
Oh, absolutely. And when I race dirt, I won't. I'm not. I'm the same as you. I run the virtual mirror. I run the spotter. I do everything I can because I'm not the greatest on dirt. I can run 1 or 2 laps and show decent speed, but I can't keep the speed consistent throughout the entire run as the track changes. So I use every advantage I have.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I'll run it enough where I probably could do fine without it, but with how big slide jobs are, and I don't like doing dirty slide jobs, so with how big they are and how important they are to in dirt racing to get a pass made, I'd rather have the mirror on just so I can make sure that if I get to where I think I'm clear, I can see them in my mirror and make sure I am before I go up and just kill them.
Oh, and absolutely, that's the big thing right there is you want to put on a good show, but you don't want to be the guy that destroys the field for a win. And I know for a fact that you're not that kind of guy that will just go out there and destroy the field intentionally.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I mean, even yesterday, whenever we got into it in the Gen 6 league, immediately I came over and apologized for my part of that. So, like I said, I'm always willing to take blame whenever it is my fault and where I do kind of overstep or mess up, whatever. So, yeah, it happens, and move on to move on to next week.
Well, and for that Gen 6 race yesterday, that wasn't even your fault. That started so far ahead of you that, by the time we got involved, it was already too late.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, I just know that for me, like I was already kind of losing control, and that was just bad timing of the guys out front of me even getting together, and then I just had no time to react because I was already busy trying to save the car on my own.
Exactly, but you know what, Michael, you did you made up for it here today. You put on one heck of a show, got the pole position once again, had a little bit of I don't know if I call it a hiccup on the initial green flag here in the feature. That might have been strategy on your part to just not go too hard to save fuel. I'm going to call it that anyways.
I
And
appreciate it.
you came back and took the W again. And you're now 2 for 2 here in season 8.
Yeah, yeah. It's always got to thank my sponsors. They always everybody on the car that helps me out. Got to give them a shout out. Still Graphix Designs, Raw Stalton Racing, Elite Performance Industries, JBM, 51 Raceworks, Peanut Baker Racing. I did so good about not messing it up last week. Mama Tried Welding Caps. Everybody helps me out. They all support me and tune in to watch, and all that support always means a ton. Even on the track, just coaching and help, everything that y'all do for the league and broadcast and everything like that. And yeah, it's looking forward to next week, and hopefully I'll get to make it. I'm not sure where we're at next week, but hopefully I get to make it and try to go 3 in a row.
Well, at this point, you're almost obligated to make it to Mailbridge next week because you're the points leader. You came in tonight with 10 points ahead of second
Yeah,
place, so
yeah,
you're going to want to protect that lead, Michael. Just a hint, hint. You got to clear up the schedule.
yeah. I mean, I'll do my best. Got lucky and able to take the last couple Tuesdays off from work. So next week I know I gotta got to be there at work and going to be pushing it. I'm not sure if I'll get to make it or not, but I'll do my best. Won't lie, Millbridge is a track that I haven't put very many laps in. Or I have put laps in there, I normally crash. So, it's I'll do my best.
Well, you know what, Michael? If you don't make it, we can just say that you're giving the competition a chance because so far you've dominated this season. You led flag to flag last week at Chili Bowl. You gave Mr. Hain there just a slight glimmer of hope before taking it away from him, and we'll just say that you're giving the competition that little bit of hope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the bonus points are for, and I saw we had bonus points for something. I figured probably most laps later or something, so I gave those away tonight. But yeah, either way, we'll do our best to keep it in the points championship and hopefully be there at the end.
Actually, the 5 bonus points are for qualifying on pole, which you
Okay,
locked up
well,
tonight.
yeah, well, I mean, only thing I have about that is the fact that it's blind draw for the heat, so it's kind of unfortunate for everybody else. But I'll take them how I get them.
Well, you know what? That's the way things were set up, and I mean, it can be adjusted if it's necessary. But hey, you know what? Take advantage of it while you got it.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna complain at all. I was wondering what they're for, but yeah, it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, let's keep getting pole draws in the blind draw, and let's keep it at it.
Alrighty, Michael. Well, you already listed off your sponsors here for us, so thank you for that. Save me asking
Yeah,
for them.
there's 47 of them, so I gotta try to get them in while I'm thinking about it and remember them off the top of my head.
Well, I don't know if you've watched the Colleague Racing race for the ride there that they did on YouTube, but they did that whole driver media availability thing, and
Oh yeah, yeah,
of the
man, I
15
love that
people on
series.
there, only one person remembered to plug the sponsors, and you did it without prompting, so you'd have gotten top points for that one.
Yeah, it's I know if I had a camera on me, I'll be a little bit more nervous. At least this more like just talking to a friend and just kind of bullshitting. So yeah, I'll take it, and if only I was racing for the seat, that would have been sweet. I was honestly, as a dirt guy, I was hoping that Carson Ferguson would pull it out. Man, he put on a hell of an effort.
Well, Carson came pretty close to it, and he still secured that ride at Martinsville, so he's still got the chance to show what he's got.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't know. I mean, obviously, I know of him more just because his cousin is Chris Ferguson. But yeah, I mean, I knew it watching as much as I watched Lucas Oil and everything like that, and watching him race it on the dirt late models. I never knew that he was that well versed in go karts and everything like that. So it definitely made me more of a fan because obviously you see me running this. I run everything on Thursdays, Gen 6, everything on Mondays. I'll be probably running mini stocks here in a little bit if I can get my daughter to fall back to sleep. She fell asleep earlier, but now she just woke up right as we finished.
Well,
So
hopefully she goes
yeah,
down nice and easy for you so we can get some mini stock action going, which will be starting in about 15 minutes. So maybe I should let you go here, Mike.
yeah, heck yeah, man. We'll see you over there. Hopefully.
Alrighty, well, congratulations on the win here tonight. 2 in a row. Hopefully you can make it next week and make it 3 in a row.
I'll do my best, buddy. Good luck later on in the mini stocks. Hopefully I'll see you over there.
Oh, for sure, I'll be there.
All right, later, buddy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, well, that will bring us to the end of tonight's broadcast. This has been the Falcon Graphix Tuesday Night Lights Micro Sprint Series here. 2 for 2 on the season so far. Michael Steele in that number 5 pink machine dominating in epic fashion, bringing in the points every which way that he can get. And he's going to be a force to be reckoned with if he can make a good majority of the races this season, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tom Quiring. Thank you for joining us. Let's hope we can see Michael join us next week at Millbridge Speedway. And yeah, you heard Michael kind of mention it a little bit here. The Extreme Forces Racing League that puts this season on here. We've got a few series going on. The Gen 6 League on Mondays. We are following the Real Life Cup Series schedule for 2026 as close as possible as we can with the Gen 6 NASCAR Cup car. Those are running Monday nights. We ran our duels last night at Daytona. I'm running the number 46 machine in that. That is being broadcasted by our partners over at Falcon Graphix. And, oh my, I'm going to get my butt kicked because I am blanking on the name of the broadcast right now. But I will research that. I'll make sure I got it back for you for next week. But either way, Gen 6 by Full Throttle Beards is Monday nights, and we got our Falcon Graphix Tuesday night lights here. Micro sprints on the dirt to begin with. Then we got our mini stocks on the asphalt. Unfortunately, the mini stocks are not broadcasted, but we'll see if we can get a couple of broadcasts on throughout the season, hopefully. Thank you for joining. Come on back next week while we race Millbridge, and hopefully our winner, Michael Steele, can come back and defend his 242 start on the season. Thank you and goodbye.